Hi everyone, my name is Lavee. I am the CTO of Foresight. In today's session we are going to talk about Git, the basic principle of Git. So just about me a little bit. Yeah. So I started as a software engineer, and back in the days when I was first introduced to Git, I was quite intimidated by it. It was a bit complex, not clear to me what it's doing, and I was afraid of it. And years go by, and I joined the Salesforce ecosystem, and with Foresight, which what we provide is basically a change intelligence, a full dependency map into your code. We get to know a lot of Salesforce admins, Salesforce professionals, and I see that the same story with Git, the same fear, the same prevention from Git, I see it happening also in the Salesforce ecosystem. And today, the goal is to get the basic principles of Git and to understand what it is and how it can be helpful for you as Salesforce professionals. So let's, first thing first, what is Git? We will talk about the basic principles of Git, change sets versus Git and source tracking, the DevOps Center that was just lately released and how can it help, and how we use change intelligence in this process. So, yeah, Git can sound intimidating. It's for developer. It has a lot of black screens with a lot of comments, and it's not for the admin or the usual admin who are looking for the declarative rule. It has a different way of looking at it, and it can be complex. But we will try to get this fear out of the way and understand it better. So what is Git? Git basically is a version control. This is all what it do. It's just managing the versions of our files. For example, why would we need a version control? So I have this picture from my preparation for a quarter business review. It usually looks like this. I do the first draft, then I do another draft, and then I do the final, and then I do the final with comments. And I never remember which was the last version. This is one of the main problems that I face. So if I would work in Git, this presentation, it would be something like that. I did the first draft, then I added some slides on revenue, and then it was ready for review. I got some comments from John, and this is the latest version that I can look. So this is basically the basic principle of Git. So if we look on Git, it's much more than just working on a single file. It supports changes on multiple files. It can be changes by multiple users to the same folder. It has a great branching mechanism, great merging capabilities between branches, and it can be used in a distributed way. It is usually has some kind of a central point of repository. I'm not sure how much I lost some of you here in this explanation, but this is exactly the point. There's a lot of things, and this is very basic. If somebody wrote it, all the things are clear to him. So we are going first step by step in order to get the basic principles of this Git, so we will be able to use it in our day-to-day jobs. So let's start first thing first. What is a repository? Git repository is basically a folder that is managed by Git. So Git is managing the version and the changes that are happening in the folder. The folder can be either on the local file system, or it can be on a remote repository like GitHub, which we manage a repository there. It means we are managing some kind of a folder in the remote repository. On those repositories, what we do commits. What is a commit? It's a revision. A set of changes that I'm preparing. For example, I change my presentation and another Excel file next to it, and I'm just pushing all those changes together. We can see here, this is an example of changes that I'm doing. Let's say I add some relevant custom fields, a set of files in XML. I change them. Next day, I just do another change. This is changing just the page layout to adjust those new custom fields. And eventually, I'm adding some kind of flow. So each circle is a commit. I put a specific message, what exactly I did in these changes. And this way, I'm just piling up all the changes on my repository. A branch, it's a new creature. It's a way of actually doing some kind of a fork or a variant of my folder, which is dedicated for my developments. For example, if I'm working on something which is large, which is not a small change, and I want to work on it for quite a long time before I interrupt with my other colleagues and then push my changes into there. So I'm creating a branch for myself. I'm doing all the commits on this specific branch, and later on we will see. So I have some kind of my own revision, my own set of history on the branch. And next thing, at the end, when I finish and everything is working and I'm ready to release it, I can merge it into the main branch, to the master branch. Usually the main branch is called master or main. But it can be different strategies, and we will discuss it. Question up until now? This is the time to ask the most simple questions of you. So regarding releases, there are many ways to do release strategy. So the branching capability of Git is very rich and can lead you to a very flexible, and can lead you to different branching strategies. And you can find a lot of explanation. I'm not going, it's a very short session. If you want to keep the basic, yeah, sure.
Sorry, just to clarify. I'm actually presenting on branching strategies right after this one, if you did want to dive deeper.
So if you want to know about branching strategy, stay. Great. So branching strategy eventually is different ways, and we will hear about later on. But my 2 cents, and I hope we're aligned with that, is that first, keep it simple, because it's getting complicated. And second, use feature branches. Don't work with the same branch everybody. Everybody should get his own feature, work on it, and get back into the main branch. So this is about my 2 cents about the branching strategy. And now, when we talked about, we said, okay, all those actions can work either locally or remotely. When we are working with a remote repository, which many users from different computers connecting to this remote repository, we need to work with some kind of a remote connection. So I have 2 commands in Git that help me to connect to a remote repository. The first command is pull. Hey, let's pull all the changes from the remote repository, in this case GitHub. So I will have the latest revision of all my team in my computer. Okay, so this is the first command. Next command is the other way around, push. I did my changes, this is my local branch, and now I want everybody to know about my changes, so I'm pushing it. I'm doing some kind of a merge commit that will just push all my changes into the remote repository. This way, we're getting into a central point, a source of truth in the remote repository. Everybody's pushing their changes into the remote repository, and we have a source of truth in the remote repository. Another interesting tool that's coming with GitHub and other tools that managing remote repository is the pull request. Hey, I finished doing my stuff. I want to push it into the remote repository that everybody can see it. Usually we want to have some kind of a gating mechanism. I don't want any change to move in. I want something to control it. So in GitHub and the other tools, also GitLab and Azure DevOps and other, you have something which is called pull request, merge request, different names for it. I'm feeling distracted.
Sorry.
And this is actually some kind of a gating mechanism telling me before I'm authorizing these changes to move into the remote repository, which is my source of truth, I'm putting some kind of a gating and I need some kind of an approver. Whether it's a technical architect or a team leader or anybody that approves this change into the remote repository. So let's talk about Git and Salesforce. What I just described is great when you are working on files and folders, but in Salesforce, if you are not using Git already, so you are working on sandboxes, Scratchworks, DevOps, full sandbox, partial sandbox. It's not exactly files and folders. Okay? So this is one of the key differences. But Salesforce already in the last couple of years already served as different tools which enable you to move between your Salesforce organization into a folder structure and back and forward. It's using the first source tracking or source tracking which allow you to pull the changes as a files and folders, different SFDX command, SFDX CLI, which is very helpful on that. And of course, all the principles of unlock packages, GP2 and things like that. So this is around that. Just to understand, and I think this is a crucial point to understand, when you're working in change sets, you're pushing changes from one org to another. And it's just need to remember to push everything, to validate it before that, and just all the time moving things between places. You don't have a one source of truth. When you are working with Git, on the other end, you have a one source of truth. So I'm doing my changes, okay, and I push it to the Git repository. I represent them as files and folders. I push them into the Git repository as the latest version. I merge them, I move them to the GitHub, and then the rest of the orgs are pulling the changes from Git. Okay? So it's not that I now need to remember what did I move in these changes from this org to the other org, did I forget anything? Or I have a source of truth, and everything is pushed here, and all the orgs are updated from this source of truth. This can be either manual or automatically by different DevOps tools. Question on that? So there are different DevOps tools in the arena, but today I want to talk to you about the DevOps Center that was lately released by Salesforce. DevOps Center is a free tool that you can install from the App Exchange, and it's actually coming to replace the change set, if we look at it in the future. This is a simple screen just to explain what we learned so far about Git and how to utilize it using the DevOps Center. So currently in this page I'm inside a work item. Okay? A work item is like a user story or any other feature that I have in my system. This is a screen from the DevOps Center. Once I create a work item, if you can see here, if you remember, I'm automatically creating a branch for my work. So I can work on my branch. This work item is connected to my branch. In order to do the changes, I'm working on my sandbox. This is a scratcher, but it's going to be a sandbox. Clicking here, log into my sandbox, doing the different changes. Once I finish doing my changes, I'm clicking on the pull changes. What DevOps Center doing in the background is pulling all the changes from the org that I did all the changes and just showing them to me exactly what was changed. Once I'm done with that, I recognize, oh yeah, I did change this flow and change this workflow. I'm pressing the commit changes.
In this case, you enable the source tracking
Yes.
first.
Of course.
Otherwise, it would be like the change set, you have to manually edit. And
Yes, you need to have source tracking. You need to have source tracking, don't worry. And this way it works behind the scenes. Eventually it's a managed package. It's connecting to different sandboxes or scratchers. And then you commit the changes. Once you commit the changes, we are creating a commit that we saw before, a set of changes into my branch. Later on, I can move the changes in a pipeline, not here, but and do the different merging and push it into the different systems. So this is the basic principle as an admin that I need to remember, which is different than change set. If in change set, I need to select every component and add it to the change set. Here I'm just doing the changes in my organization, pulling the changes, select what I need, and commit. Okay? Of course, don't forget to add a message, which is crucial. It will not let you commit without it. Okay? Questions so far?
When you say pull changes, you pull from where?
Okay, this is confusing, I agree with you. It's not pulling from it, it's pulling from the development org. So just as we said, we have the org, we need to convert it into some kind of file. So we just get the changes, the latest changes in this org, and present them here. Nothing is yet committed until I press commit. Okay, any additional questions? So I just want to show you one thing that we are, as we said, we are at Foresight, we are a change intelligence platform, which means we are enriching the DevOps process with insights on your Salesforce code.
10 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. so different. So I hope you heard me so far. But yeah. So here we are just presenting some kind of one of the things with DevOps Center, which is still in its early stages. And it's not a full release management solution. It's not yet a full solution. It's very useful for the committing of changes, as you saw. Just very simple interface for the admin to commit the changes if you're a developer. So you have your other tools for that. But it's very simple in that matter. But it's not a full release management solution. So here we're just showing some kind of a flow that we're soon going to provide around Jira as a change management platform that we're working. It's very common. And we have here, as you can see, the ability to connect it to the DevOps Center by creating a work item. And this work item will be actually related to this Jira issue. So you can see exactly the name of the Jira issue. So I can go ahead and do all this process within the DevOps Center, going to my sandbox, and doing my changes, pulling it from here, selecting them. Oops, sorry. And commit the changes. And once I'm done with that, I can go back into the Jira. I think it will be reflected in Jira. I will be able to see exactly all the changes that I've done. And this will allow me some kind of a release management around the DevOps Center, which is not yet there. In the DevOps Center, you're moving one work item at a time, and here you can just manage it and get the full vision of things. More than that, what you will be able to see also on the component that you changed, exactly the full dependency map of what was changed, what is the impact of it, how it is connected to other components. And based on that, what we're doing as well, we are able also to generate some kind of what we call a test plan that you can run based on the impact of those changes. I change the three components, I can automatically identify what is impacting and what needs to be tested. And based on that, I can generate some kind of a test plan that I can later on execute and run it and record it. Do all this process, save it, and I have what we call the full evidence of things that will just show you exactly the flow that you did, and it can be useful for future steps and future tests as well. So
the test plan is some kind of test, UI test you built on the
yeah,
side?
yeah, it's UI testing.
Okay.
It's not a unit testing, it's UI testing.
Okay.
But it generates you what we hear from a lot of our customers that how do I start about testing? You know, it's good to say, hey, let's go and do unit testing, but it's sometimes I'm not ready yet. I don't know exactly what is the flow that I need to test, or if I know it's good, but not. And usually when I'm starting with some kind of a blank Excel, okay, I'm trying to fill it up with some kind of test plan that I need to do. So here we are coming into hand telling you, listen, this is what you need to test. Don't forget anything because we're covering all the points that you need, so we'll be able to access it as well.
And just to understand, you create a Jira and you create your tests each time, or there's some kind of automatism that...
The tests are created based on the changed components.
Okay.
Okay, they are related, of course, to the Jira issue, but we generate them based on what you changed. Okay, what's happening a lot of times is, okay, I changed some components, I forget a specific business process that is impacted by this change. Something will not work there, but I need to test it, and I forget it. So here we're giving you a full coverage of exactly what you need to test. So this is the idea. I think well, this is about it. So if any other questions you have regarding Git, regarding DevOps Center, Panaya, so feel free to ask. You're welcome to reach us either in Panaya, Salesforce, or you can send me an email. We'll be happy to be in touch with you for any questions. I will finish even earlier. I have 5, but I'm almost done, so I don't want to waste your time. I'll give you some time for coffee.